do you understand about the present time, the here and now? We can appreciate that the future extends from infinity right up to the here and now. We can imagine that the past goes from the here and now to sometime 14.6 billion years in the past, because when the universe was created. But what of the here and now? Science has never really come up with what actually it is that lies between the end of the future and the beginning of the past. And I hope by the end of these series of talks that we will have an answer. My name is Kevin Davis. I want to talk to you in a series of lectures about the Davis hypothesis based on my original lecture called How Long is a Piece of String and How to Get a Universe from Nothing. I need to explain a couple of things before we start. And the first concerns the nothing. I'm not talking here about the nothing of outer space, for instance. Outer space is pretty chock-a-block, with one hydrogen atom per cubic meter, neutrinos crisscrossing the outer space, other cosmic rays doing likewise. Even gravity has an effect across space. Now, my concept of nothing is more to do with the void of Aristotle. And if I can just show what I mean more graphically. If you have a commodity, I call it here x, and you take away the same commodity, x minus x, we get 0. Now 0 is not a proper number, but it works perfectly well for describing a balance between a plus and a minus. If x equals y, then also x minus y will give us nothing. Now, this may look pretty facile on first appearances, but I want you to remember this definition of nothing when we come across it a little bit later, where it has more important significance. I also want to talk about uncertainty, and I'm talking about the uncertainty of the number 1, unity. The number 1 is the basis of all mathematics and therefore science, and also the basis of all reasoning and logic. So it's very, very important, and it's important that we have faith in what it stands for. But when I ask you the question, what is the square root of 1? Many of you will come up with the correct answer, plus 1. I'm equally sure that some of you will come up with the other correct answer, which is minus 1. And this instantly gives us some uncertainty about the integrity of the number 1. But that's not all. Although the cube root of 1 is 1, the fourth root of 1 are 4. And I have to introduce two other numbers here. Besides the plus 1 and minus 1 that we've already come across, the fourth roots include a number called I, designated I, introduced by Stephen Hawking in his book A Brief History of Time, and also minus I, where I is the square root of minus 1. And the square root of minus 1 is a magical figure that it features importantly in number theory, but although we can't comprehend it as human beings, it's important in digital technology. Our TVs and musical equipment wouldn't function without there being a square root of minus 1. But I want to talk a little bit now about the two answers to the square root of 1, because this features heavily in what I have to say in future talks. And I want to illustrate what I mean with a little demonstration. If I show you a handkerchief here of size plus 1, you can all see that. And I show you here another handkerchief of size minus 1. You can all see this. No? Well, of course you can't, because our brains cannot sense negative dimensions. But if I put a little board around, you can just about make out the handkerchief now of size minus 1. There we go. And you can see instantly that the area of the real handkerchief of side +1 is +1 times +1 is 1. The area of the second handkerchief is -1 times -1, which is also +1. So although one handkerchief you can see and the other handkerchief you can't, they both have an area, a real area of +1. Okay, and this is quite important for what we need to talk about later. Now the Davis hypothesis is a journey, and I want you to join with me, if you will, along the road which scientists are reluctant to take for want of empiricism, to a point that theologians are reluctant to go to, because we might discover some of the secrets, perhaps about the very existence of God. Here endeth the first lesson.